The dark side of Japan during the recession will shock you. Have you ever wondered what life is like in Japan during a recession? What kind of impact does a recession have on the people of Japan? How do they cope with the financial strain? And what can be done to help those affected by the economic downturn? We'll answer these questions and more as we take a closer look at the dark side of Japan during the recession. Japan's economy is in a technical recession because its gross domestic product, or GDP, fell in the third quarter, which went against predictions of growth and allowed Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to put off a second sales tax increase. As soon as the news came out, stocks in Europe and the US both went down. The world's third largest economy shrunk by 1.6% on an annualized basis from July to September, according to data released on Monday. This was worse than what Reuters had predicted, which was a gain of 2.1%. The revised number for the second quarter is that the economy shrank by 7.3%. In the third quarter compared to the previous quarter, the economy shrunk by 0.4%, which was worse than the general expectation of growth of 0.5%. Private consumption, which makes up about 60% of the economy, went up by 0.4% less than expected from the previous quarter. This shows that the increase in Japan's sales tax from 5% to 8% in April is still having an effect. The news caused the dollar-yen exchange rate to jump to new 7-year highs. At one point, it hit 117.04, which is a level not seen since October 2007. At the start of trading in New York, the dollar-yen rate was around 116.5. The Nikkei 225 ended the day down nearly 3%. The first estimate of the GDP is usually very different from the truth, especially since we don't have the import part of the corporate statistics to see the capital expenditures, and today's number in the capital expenditures was a big drag. So we have to wait to see what the second estimate is, but the first look at the result today is shockingly bad for the economy, said Yoshito Sakikabara, executive director of the investment research at JP Morgan. Abe to delay sales tax hike? Abe said he would look at the data before deciding whether to go ahead with a second increase in the sales tax to 10% in October of next year. This is part of a plan to reduce Japan's huge public debt, which is the worst of all the advanced countries. When people stopped spending in April, the economy went into a tailspin. This made it harder for the Bank of Japan, or BOJ, to reach its goal of 2% inflation by next year. Last month, the BOJ shocked the markets by adding more stimulus to what was already a huge amount. It did this to help a weak recovery and boost inflation. Etsuro Honda, a college professor and Abe's economic advisor, told Reuters that this is not at all the time to talk about raising the consumption tax. Discussions should center on how to help the Japanese economy. Izumi Duvalier, an economist for HSBC in Japan, says that a decision could be made as soon as Monday. We think it's almost certain that Prime Minister Shinzo Abe will put off the next VAT increase. The PM is scheduled to hold a press conference on the VAT tomorrow, but we could get an announcement as early as today when Mr. Abe is scheduled to return from the G20 meetings being held in Brisbane, Duvalier said in a note. JP Morgan's Sakikabara does not see a deep recession for Japan, but he notes that the rebound remains vulnerable. I think the industrial activity is starting to get better, but this summer we had a lot of bad weather and natural disasters, which probably had a big effect on the activity. I think the recession we seem to be in right now will be short. Even so, the recovery is still moving slowly, he said. Political gamble. Since the opposition is split and weak, it seems likely that Abe's Liberal Democratic Party, or LDP, will keep its majority in the lower house. However, the LDP could lose seats. Some analysts have warned that putting off the sales tax increase could hurt Abe's goal of reforming the country. Even though the markets seem to see the tax increase as a bad thing right now, questions would soon be asked about the future of monetary policy if it looked like the government had given up on its commitment to fiscal consolidation, they said. Hey, that's it for today's video. Please let us know in the comment box what you all think about it. Like it and share it with your friends. And also make sure you subscribe to our channel to watch more amazing content like this. Thanks for watching.